Hello everyone, thank you so much for being here, for liking, subscribing and all the amazing comments and feedback you leave me. It means the world, as you know. Right, I'm going to do something fabulous. I'm going to tell you a bedtime story and I'm reading it out of Now It Begins by the amazing Gary Markwick. Now, I spoke about this on the 7 books you have to read video, and I spoke a little bit about Gary because, you know, I do see him as a good friend. I don't see him very often, you know, but I have spent time with him and he's an amazing person. And I know he wouldn't mind me reading you a bit of this book because, you know, I've told him before how much I love the story that I'm going to tell you now. And if you've got the book, it's on page 39. It's only a small story. It's about a snail. It's the story of the little snail. And this will really resonate with you because it's a story of letting go. So I just thought it'd be really fitting to do this now so that you can tune in, listen, and, you know, go to bed feeling good. And if it's daytime for you, take this story with you throughout your day. And if you want to buy this amazing book, it's called Now It Begins by Gary Markwick. That's Gary Markwick, Markwick. So it's Mark, M-A-R-K, and then it's Wick, W-I-C-K, Gary Markwick. And I'm sure it's on Amazon. And, you know, if you want to see Gary, he's actually based in Camden Market, where you can go and have a reading with him. He's a famous palmist. And I'm down in July, and I'm really hoping he's going to be there. So this is the story of the little snail, and I know it will resonate with you. Okay, you may want to close your eyes and just visualize it. It's so beautiful. There were 3 snails sitting on the side of a riverbank. 3 snails. So imagine them, just visualize 3 little snails just sitting there right now on a riverbank. The river below was flowing fast and furious, and would surely take anyone and anything with it once in its deep waters. So they're not only sitting on the riverbank, you know, the water below them, it's furiously flowing. So it's like the rapids, you know. It's like the rapids just, you know, you can hear it, you can hear the water, the noise it's making. You can imagine it moving all the twigs along and throwing things around. As the snails remained firmly stuck tight to the muddy bank of the river, lazing around and passing the time of day, one of them had an inspirational thought. So they're just sitting there, contemplating, enjoying life, getting on with things, you know, day-to-day routine, not really doing anything. And then one day, one of them has an aha moment. A light goes on, an inspirational thought comes in. This inspired thought had come from no place that the snail was ever aware of, but it was so intense it occupied his thoughts completely. And isn't that what happens when we have an awakening? Something just pops in our heads and it just stays there. We don't know where it's come from, but we know it's been divinely heaven sent. It's been orchestrated to pop into our head at just that exact moment. And that's what happened to this snail. The intuitive thought he had received when lying quietly on the bank with nothing else to do was in fact to let go. So all it was let go. You know, that's all it was. He was lazing around, enjoying himself, not thinking about anything, doing his day-to-day thing. And then this inspiration just popped into his head that said, let go. How powerful is that? This also came as a great shock, as who in their right minds would do such a thing? It would be plain suicide. However, let go and be free was certainly the message he was hearing so clearly. So he was hearing the message to let go and be free. And what that meant to the snail was that he got to throw himself, fling himself into the water below, the furious rapids below. And, you know, that was purely going to be suicide. Surely that was going to be suicide, you know. Why would anyone do that in the right mind? And that's what the ego does. Whenever we have a thought like that, you know, our ego starts putting fears and illusions in our minds. Oh, that's deadly, you can't do that. What if that change doesn't work? Or what if, bringing what if scenarios in, you know. The message was becoming very intense and worrying. It seemed to the snail he had reached the time when he had to make a decision which would change his life forever. So this snail knew that he had to change his life forever, so he was probably already asking for guidance without even realising it. You know, he was already asking, how am I going to change my life? Surely it's not going to be this forever. He was asking, and because he was asking, heaven answered. That illumination went in, and Archangel Uriel is the angel in charge of that. So if you have any action, inspired action that just pops in your head saying, do this, that's coming from heaven, you know. That's an answer to your prayers, or the universe calling you to manifest something you're desiring. So this snail knows that he needs to make a decision to change his life. And because of that, the message he received was getting bigger and bigger and more intense and more worrisome. Because the ego was saying, oh, you know, don't do that, it's scary, you know. If he decided to stay where he was for the rest of his life, he would never forget the time of that intuitive awakening and would always wonder if he had made the right decision. So he's always going to be wondering if he didn't make that choice. He'd always think, what if he'd have regret there? Or wonder what would have happened if I had let go, if I had jumped off and thrown myself into the riverbank. What then? Would my life have been different? Would there have been more to it than this? So questioning everything. He looked around at the scenery, the place where he had decided to live, and then gazed upon the other two snails who had become his friends. So he starts looking around him at society and what other people are doing. Are they okay? What are they doing? What are they thinking? What do they feel about this? Many questions raced through his mind. What will happen to me if I let go? What if I die? What about my friendships? What about my friends? So he starts asking the questions, and that's the ego. What if? What if? What if? What if? Scaring him, you know. Fear coming in. False experiences appearing real. Deep down, he had already made up his mind because he had wanted to change his life for a long time. He used to wish for so many things, never believing they would ever come true. So again, he's been asking for help, just like I'd said. He'd already been asking, you know, he didn't want to be just a normal snail. He wanted to do something wonderful with his life. We all have dreams. Often they may come to us when we least expect them. The snail calmed his mind, entering into a relaxed state. So he went into meditation. He went within. He went into quiet time to gain answers and knowledge and wisdom, which is what we're all guided to do as well. Okay, the snail said, I have made my decision. I am going to let go. This is the only way to make the correct decision in our lives in a calm and relaxed state. So again, what Gary's saying is we need to meditate. We need to relax. We need to release. And that's how you'll get the answers. And that's how you'll receive the signs that you need as well. So the snail decides, yes, I'm going to let go. I'm going to go for it, you know. So he says a final farewell to his friends and to the surroundings that he's made his home. And he gave his thanks and appreciation to all things. So he accepted. He accepted he was ready to change his life. He was ready to leave behind what was not working for him, the friends, the people around him in his life, the place he'd made home. He was ready for this change. He didn't know what to expect, but he was ready, you know. He let go of the bank. It all happened so quickly. As he hit the water, he was swept away from the place he had once lived. He did not even have time to look back at the life he had led. This was a frightening experience for him. The current of the water was so fierce, it began to take him under. It was not his intention to drown. He was confused as he continued to sink, going deeper and deeper into the vast depth of the water. As he was plunging to his death, he suddenly said, "Oh well, I have made my decision. It was my choice and no one else's. I have let go." So he was getting thrown around in the water. It all happened so fast, it was scary to him. And isn't that how it is when we make changes? We all make changes and it seems so scary at first. We get swept away by the current. We don't know what we're doing. We can't breathe, you know. We feel like it's the end. And then we just say, oh, well, this was what I decided to do. And at that point, you let go. So he decided, oh, well, I've made my decision. It was my choice, no one else's. I've let go. He had almost reached the bottom of the river, but quite a dramatic change had occurred, because not only had he made a decision by letting go, but he had also made a decision to accept. So what he'd done is he'd accepted his fate. You know, he said in that moment where he thought he was plunging to his death, he thought, well, this is my decision. I needed to do it. I've let go. What will be, will be. I surrender. What will be, will be. And that's what we do when we're going through any dramatic changes, or we're going through anything where we're constantly holding on and the universe is guiding us to let go because better things are coming, or we need to release and accept things. And when you accept things, magic happens. And it goes on to say, as soon as the snail accepted the consequences, a miraculous thing happened. The tiny snail began to rise and emerge to the surface of calmed waters. He was free. He had made his decision, he had let go, accepted, and now he lives a very happy life with old and new friends alike. So what this is saying is, once the snail accepted the consequences, miracles happen, because the universe then takes control. And you know, the snail began to rise. He rose and he emerged to calm waters because he'd accepted things, and the stormy waters, the treacherous waters just dissipated because he calmed his mind. And when you calm your mind, everything around you calms as well, because you are the powerful creator of your reality. He was free. So he became free. He made that decision. He'd let go. He'd accepted. And now he lives a happy life with old and new friends alike, which is saying it's not that he never saw his old friends again. You know, he made new friends, people that were right for him in his life. He made a home where he was. He enjoyed himself, and then he came back in touch with people that were meant to be in his life, because that's the power of the universe, and that's the power of fate and destiny. When we are able to free ourselves from the restrictions of our past, we are open to receiving all things that are possible. When we connect with the universe, we create the power within, and that's what it says. And you really need to buy this powerful book, because it's so amazing. It goes on and on and on about all of these things, how to let go, what will happen when we let go, what it means. You know, an absolutely beautiful book, one of my absolute favourites. Huge shout out to Gary Markwick for writing this. And there he is. You can find him on Twitter. I do believe he's on Facebook as well, you know. Follow Gary, he's amazing. What a beautiful story, you know. So you're that snail. You may be being guided right now to let go of anything no longer serving you, whether it be a relationship, a home, a location you're living in, a job, you know, people that are just pulling you down and you're not on their wavelength anymore. Even family members, maybe you're being guided to walk away and make a fresh start. But whatever you're being guided to do, it will seem scary and treacherous and worrisome. And you have to really get to a place of inner peace by going within, tuning into you, because only you know what's working for you, what will be right for you. You can listen to everybody else, but they won't give you the right answers because they don't know the real you. Only you know what's right for you in your life. And when you accept and give it to heaven, miracles happen. Have a beautiful night, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you soon.